You are with the big story here. I'm Seher Zama. The top focus, the decision of the Mumbai Civic Body, the BMC, to send 17 of its corporators for a study tour to the Andamans. And this is to study the roads and the drainage system there. This tour has been scheduled from the 1st to the 4th of February. Corporators to spend 4 days in the Andaman to study the drainage system and the roads. As we know, Mumbai faces severe challenges when it comes to the infrastructure in roads and drainage. This is especially around monsoons. But the question here is, can a study tour to the Andamans help the condition in Mumbai? The BMC is spending 22 lakh rupees on this 4-day tour. This is money of the taxpayer. This move has sparked off a row with their former alliance partner, the BJP, who have done similar such study tours in the past, but today is opposing this move, saying it's a waste of taxpayers' money. This is what we are tracking on a larger issue. Should the concept, the very concept of study tours be stopped? They do not show results on ground. Taxpayers' money, which is wasted in several of these trips, have not shown corrective measures for the purpose of the city that it was intended for. Let's get in further inputs. We're going to throw this open to our panelists, our guests here in just a bit. But first, going across to our correspondent Disha, who's been tracking inputs here regarding this upcoming tour. Disha, first, what is going to be the important learning in this trip? What's the purpose of this trip? Can it really help Mumbai?
Seher, so to say, it is indeed like a corporator junket, if you can say, for 4 days for at least 17 corporators who plan to go to Andaman and Nicobar to get new ideas to improve the city of Mumbai. So this is what their agenda is as far as what they are claiming at this point in time. This particular tour has been, they will be going from 1st to 4th of February is what we understand. So when we spoke to the BMC officers as to what is so special about Andaman and Nicobar, that in Mumbai we do not really have so far. This is what they have told me, and I'm reading this out particularly as in when they told me to study the mechanism used there to drain flood or heavy rain waters and examine whether it can be replicated in Mumbai to tackle the waterlogging issue or not. Also to study the water drainage and sewage systems on the island. So here the connection, what they are trying to do is Andaman and Nicobar, it's an island. Mumbai also as a city, it has an island. So here they are actually trying to bring out the similarities here and to see that what the local corporation over there has done, they are trying to replicate the same here in Mumbai. But we do not really know what the logic is behind this, Seher, because keeping in mind the population is different, the demographics are different. So what exactly the BMC is planning to do with this entire study tour is something that we'll have to wait and watch.
That's right. The geography different, the population, the needs of a big city very different from what's there in the Andamans here. Please stay with us, Disha. Our colleague Tanima Biswas is also getting us further inputs here. Tanima, these are technical details and details that one should know, because often this is a smoke screen. This is in the name of a study tour, and you have lakhs that is being spent of the exchequer.
That's right. It's a 4-day study tour costing 22 lakhs to BMC. Everyone knows where the money is coming from. If we just take a look at some of the basic facts of this study tour, which the BMC is planning to undertake in February. So 17 corporators from the Sena, Congress and NCP have been identified who are going to be part of this study tour heading to Andamans. Next, the tour is between 1st to 4th of February. So it's 4 days in February, beginning of February, that this team is going to spend in Andamans, studying the roads, network and the drainage system. The Mumbai Civic Body is going to fund this tour, and if we go into the next point there, which talks about the fact that this entire tour is going to cost around 22 lakhs rupees. Now, as Disha was mentioning, that a rationale has been given that there is a specific purpose which has been identified by the BMC. But if we, in a short while from now, we look into the past records of the BMC when it comes to these study tours, what exactly is the impact, what's the conclusion, what's the recommendation, and what's the adaptation of some of these lessons learned in these study tours, that is also going to be under the scanner as well. For the moment, it seems that the questions are being, of course, asked by the opposition members as well, who are basically saying that if you want to learn more about the road network in Andaman Andamans, then isn't a Google search enough? Do you really need to go there for this study tour? So BMC, the Mumbai Civic Body, will have to answer these questions at some point in time.
Yes, please stay with us. We're getting in more voices. Let's throw this open now to Ms. Shaina NC, spokesperson of the BJP, also Mr. Ravi Srivastav, political analyst. First to you, Shaina, because of the kind of stand that the BJP has taken, it's very refreshing to hear this, that the BJP says that this should not be done. It's a waste of taxpayers' money. Even though the BJP has itself, its corporators and members have themselves also gone to several such study tours in the past, showing no results on ground. What is this sudden change of heart, and why do you think that this is an all-out waste of money?
Seher, this is not a sudden change of heart. We have clearly believed that these kind of junkets are nothing but a waste of taxpayers' money. 22 lakhs is not a small amount, and this money belongs to you and me. The sad part is that the BMC has not even spent of its 36,000 crores, 37% on infrastructure, be it better roads, better drainage, better infrastructure. So what are they going to the Andamans to study? Better roads, better infrastructure, better drainage? They should first provide similar facilities by utilizing funds in Mumbai. This is nothing but a holiday. And do understand that the Andamans and Mumbai have nothing in common. No topography, no population. The population in Mumbai is way beyond that of the Andamans. And the reality is that if you really want to study, as if you can't study at any of the universities in Mumbai, as if you can't go through case studies and papers to actually improvise, implement. Where is the political will? Where is the transparency of the Mumbai Civic Body as a administration with corporators who have every year people dying of pothole deaths? It was only when Devendra Fadnavis was the chief minister that the guilty perpetrators of crime are put behind bars and sitting in jail. We need to speak up, and we need to walk the talk unanimously and sometimes above party line.
Okay. Shaina, I appreciate you saying that, slamming such study tours here. But Mr. Ravi Srivastav, do you think that it's time we not just question this particular one study tour, which is going to happen in the first week of February next month, but the very concept of study tours, it's a sham. It doesn't show results on ground. Whatever, if at all, has been in terms of study and observation is not implemented on ground.
Sir, first of all, allow me to respond to Ms. Shaina and see the kind of statement she is making about the potholes and people dying, falling in gutters and all that. This was her government which was in power there. It was her partnership with the Shiv Senas for last 30 years in Mumbai municipality. She should know that what she has been doing for last 3 decades, and today she is giving the lecture on this study tours and all that. See, sir, I'm not against any kind of study tours.
But Mr. Ravi Srivastav, let's be fair to the BJP on this tour, at least here. There are no BJP corporators of the BMC which are going for this tour. They're not going.
May not be going this time, but they have been part of it. And it's not the Mumbai Municipal Corporation is the only municipality in Maharashtra. There are several municipalities, and every municipality sends corporators on study tours. Even the smallest municipality where I live in, the Panvel Municipal Corporation, even that sends the corporators for the study tours. So she should not, question, because she has been a part of it and she has been doing it. Her party has been doing it. So she should not lecture others. But what I am asking is, I have a rider here. My rider is accountability. The word 4 years before, when the mayor and everyone went on this Andaman Nicobar tour, what actually they learnt? And why did questions were not asked to the team that what have you brought back from Andaman? What you're learning from the Andaman? Whether they go to Andaman, whether they go to Jammu Kashmir, whether they go to Chandigarh, they should show that this is what they have learned and this is what they are going to implement
Shaina,
in the
coming to you in just a bit, but it's important we get in those details. Similar such study tour of 2016, which the BJP was part as well. Has it helped the city today after 4 years? Let's get in those details. We have with us our correspondent Disha, who's in fact dug out all of those inputs. In fact, was reporting on that even 4 years ago when this was being raised. Disha, that study tour of 2016, the purpose of it, and has it shown any corrective measures, any positive results when the corporators were back? with that study?
Well, Seher, definitely this study tour is not really happening for the first time in the BMC. We saw this a huge public outrage, especially in 2016 when first the study tour concept really came in the BMC. It was introduced by Shiv Senas at that point in time, and it was led by the then Mumbai Mayor Snehal Ambedkar. What we know so far, what we have found out about 2016 junket, so to call, 33 corporators, majority of them were from Shiv Senas, is what we understand. From the standing committee as well as from the works committee, there were 33 corporators who really went to Andaman and Nicobar for the same reason. Seher, at that point in time also they gave the same reason. They wanted to study the drainage system, how it works. They wanted to actually tackle the waterlogging issue in Mumbai and how the roads are well maintained over there, what can be done with the help of the local corporation. All of this was talked about even then. But 4 years down the line, we are seeing no improvement at all with that particular 4-day tour that they really had. Next thing what we see, 4 years down the line, again the same committee members are going to the same place for the same purpose. In fact, what we also found out, Seher, that after 2016 tour, the corporators did come back. They filed their report, which essentially meant where they visited, what they really saw. But as far as the extensive suggestions and recommendations were concerned, that how the city can be improved, nothing of that sort was really mentioned. So essentially, what it was a half-baked report by the corporators who really went for the 4-day tour. 14 lakh rupees was spent at that point in time. But till now, we are not seeing any solutions on the ground level, but only on the paper. Seher.
Okay. Right. Well pointed out there, Disha. Shaina, let's get in your input here from this. Today, you're against the study tour. Is it because, Shaina, you feel that a mistake was made in the past 6 years ago, or you're against it only because you think it's right to oppose the Shiv Sena today?
Seher, every time there is a study tour, what is the outcome of it is the important point. If there is an outcome which benefits the city, I'm not against it. But if it's a mere holiday or a junket where the BMC has decided, oh, send some corporators and let them go, what are they learning? What is the commonality between the Andamans and Mumbai? That is the first question. Second, if it is 22 lakhs, it's a huge sum of money, which is the taxpayers' money. The solutions are ahead of us. The money is available to us. The BMC has 80,000 crores in fixed deposits, and none of which has been spent on civic infrastructure, on roads, on all kinds of issues vis-a-vis drainage, garbage. So what are we...
Madam, why did you not question them for 3 decades?
Raviji, I think you have an allergy with the BJP.
No,
that's a
why did you not question it for 3 decades? Madam, you were there in the BMC with them. Why did you not raise these questions which you are raising today?
Okay,
that's my question.
Mr. Ravi, no, please. No, please don't shout down a co-panelist this way. Shaina, the very simple question here essentially being asked, the spirit. Yes, but the Shaina, the spirit of this question is here, if you're against this particular study tour to the Andamans, are we looking at your party walking the talk across all states as well? Be unanimously against every study tour, saying that this is a concept, this is a formula, which is a paid holiday, has never worked in the past, will not work in the future either. And the BJP stands against this, the very concept of a study tour to be shot down. Will you say that?
I agree with you, but I do want to say if a study tour has an outcome which is positive to the city or which empowers you in a particular way, then so be it. But if not, then it really makes no sense. And where we need to speak up, we must speak up vociferously. Raviji has an allergy with the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is known. I think he should take an Allegra every time he comes on a TV show, because otherwise he goes off on a different tangent. I agree with him that we need to have accountability.
So let's get the focus here on this, Mr. Ravi Srivastav. We got your point, Shaina. No, let's not speak elegies here. But Mr. Ravi Srivastav, should this question today be even considered, be asked, that let's take into account study tours that can work or sound or seem like that can work. There have been enough study tours that we've seen suffered through in the country for the past few decades. I think it's well established. Study tour as a concept doesn't work on ground.
Seher, now let me respond to you. Study tours per se are not a bad idea anyway. There is a government in Delhi which sent some 25 principals to London, UK, to study their education system, which they came back and implemented it. Nobody questioned it, because the public money should not be wasted. That's the point. The accountability should be there, that what have they learned, and what they have learned, whether that has been implemented on the ground or not. Now I'll question, is the question of taxpayers' money, what 36 ministers have been sent to J&K for, what kind of a junket have they gone there to appease people or to educate on the Article 370 abrogation? Is that not a waste of money? What they have achieved? For visiting J&K for 36 ministers, that too of BJP ministry, they have gone there and educate people on Article 370. So the waste of money is like this, taxpayers' money. There should be a value for money. If you are going to, there should be a cost-benefit analysis.
But Mr. Ravi Srivastava, who's to have these discretionary
what benefit has been accrued.
If you're quoting one example that has worked as opposed to 30 examples that haven't worked, it's very clear it's a concept which is not working. Who's to have these discretionary powers? And there are future tours lined up as well. This is specifically talking about what the BMC plans next. Tanima is getting us further inputs here. Tanima, will there be equal outrage even for these tours? That, of course, we still need to wait and see. But what has been lined up for the coming few years?
That's right. In fact, there's no particular timeline given at the moment, but there are several other study tours which the BMC has lined up as well. Let us look at some of them. So, as a roadmap, what the BMC has decided is that the Health Committee will have they are planning a study tour in Shanghai in China. That's the first study tour that is likely to come up next. If you go into the following point, Education Committee of the BMC is planning a study tour in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. So this is a domestic one. Following one, the Tree Authority Department of BMC is planning a study tour in Singapore. Another international trip there. Women and Child Welfare Committee of the BMC is planning a study tour in Kerala. Go into the following point. The Improvement Committee of the BMC is planning a study tour in several cities in the country, in Bengaluru, Mysuru, Ooty and other parts of Karnataka. So essentially several study tours which the BMC has lined up. The rationale for each of it, of course, with the respective department is there. Whether or not there's a timeline given for it, that we'll have to see. But the costs of each the study tour and the impact, as we were mentioning, what exactly is the impact of these study tours, what comes out of it, these are questions which are being raised by the opposition as the BMC is under scanner for several study tours like this.
All right. Shaina, do you find resonance with any of this? You're shooting down roads and drainage study in Andaman makes no sense. You think health study in Shanghai makes sense? Would you support that? You think education in Dehradun, Tree Authority trip to Singapore, does any of this make sense? Okay, we're going to be reconnecting with Shaina on that in just a bit. But Mr. Ravi Srivastava, this is, as you were saying, to have discretion of which study tour works, which doesn't. Any of this that sounds to you is workable?
I've talked about the principle. I am not talking about the specifics that the health tour to some city or to the tree authority group to Singapore or Kerala or something like that. I am not specifically asking about that, because I do not know exactly that what tree authority will learn in Singapore or what some health group will learn in the Uttarakhand, Dehradun. So these are not the questions. But the point
so
is,
what you're saying, Mr. Ravi Srivastava, it sounds bizarre.
These municipalities have got their own budget, and according to that they send people. My question is, there should be accountability. What have they learned and what has been implemented? If it does not happen, I would go to the extent that if they went to Andaman Nicobar in 2016 and nothing has improved in Mumbai, that money should be recovered from the personal account of those corporators. I would go to that extent. So it is a public money.
Accountability here, but whether or not a study tour makes sense or not. Let me take that question back to Shaina NC. Shaina, you were saying that studying roads and drainage in Andamans doesn't make sense, which is why the BJP is against the study tour. Do you think a health study tour to Shanghai makes sense, or the education tour of the department to Dehradun makes sense, or for the tree authority to go to Singapore? Does any of this make sense?
No, I don't think any of it does, because it's not specific. And even if We have
so Shaina, what you're saying today is that this is a blanket criticism to all study tours by the BMC today from the BJP across the board.
Seher, is there a need to study tree plantation when our topography is so different? We have so many NGOs that have worked here, whether it is what our erstwhile Forest Minister Sudhir Mungantiwar did to plant 33 crore trees across Maharashtra, or it is the best experts and agrarians who are present in the state. Does that make sense to go to Singapore where there's rain every single day, where you can't compare the two? It does not make sense. So any thinking person will immediately...
It doesn't, exactly.
I will go to the extent of saying the Bharatiya Janata Party has also sent its corporators in the past to certain study tours, which did make sense. And that's why we're not sending them now. If we thought that there was a great learning from the Andamans, then we would waste taxpayers' money. We just don't believe in wasteful spending for no reason and no outcome.
Madam, your party...
Shaina, Mr. Ravi Srivastava had also raised the point of accountability. So, will there be accountability for the 2016 tour, which was an absolute waste of money?
Absolutely. I think the accountability starts by setting a precedent. The precedent is say no to junkets, which are a waste of taxpayers' money. And if there is a substantive evidence to suggest that, yes, maybe one particular tour, there was an outcome, there was a paper, there was an implementation of it, it helped the state by saving so much, then welcome. But if there isn't, I mean, to say about going to learn about trees or going to learn about roads and drainage, I mean, it just does not make sense. There has to be a model which is implemented.
All right, Shaina, I'm glad we're discussing this when study tours start sounding bizarre, make no sense whatsoever, given that two entirely different topography, population, geography that we're dealing with, and still the study tour is happening. Shaina and Mr. Ravi Srivastava, many thanks for getting us those voices, your views, and our correspondents Disha and Tanima with those inputs. At the end of the day, I think it's time that we start asking, in my sense of speaking here, we as citizens, as taxpayers, who are in fact funding these study tours that continue happening from time to time. It's not a question of whether today's government or previous opposition or current opposition speaks in favor of it or against it. At the end of the day, we need to be discerning enough to speak out against these study tours, saying that, look, this hasn't showed results in the past, this is not showing results today, will not in the future. A lot of the study tours lined up are sounding bizarre. It doesn't seem that there is any similarity that could bring about results as to the original purpose of the study tour. Should we shoot down these study tours? Should we call them off? Should we press our governments and local corporations to not be going ahead with it, is the question. Thanks for being here.